Something soulful to make your soul full. Let's go. I kinda like this right here. Yeah. Got me feeling some type of way. I told y'all, it was musicians that brought me into the truth. Got me up here dancing in the booth. They say the truth shall set you free, give you liberty, trick me. With your lies, you must be kidding me. The end is almost here. Of this captivity, it's time to repent. They say the truth shall set you free, give you liberty, trick me. With your lies, you must be kidding me. The end is almost here. Of this captivity, it's time to repent. Now watch this. The blessings, the cursings, the lesson, the purpose. When we break God's laws, this aggression just worsens. Don't do it. The kingdom, the promise, the greatness, the honors. I want to live to see the day when Satan's demolished. Now, one time for my sister on the soul track, showbiz, agent. Can I get a soul clap? Old man is dead, and I don't want to go back. 12 tribes of Israel, this is bigger than just pro-black. Some speak of peace, and some prophesy doom. Moral of the story is prepare for the bridegroom. He may come at night, he may come at high noon. Everything destroyed like winds from a typhoon. Always on time. I said Yahweh's never late. Apply the precepts to life so you can elevate. It won't be long before our people's in a better state. And when we get to heaven, damn right we're gonna celebrate. And I ain't talking about a place that's invisible. Give us our kingdom on earth in the physical. Revelation 5 and 10. Cause it's spiritual. Church is a scam, so be careful who you listen to and don't be so easily led. Sheep need to be fed. What's understood never needs to be said. So I teach on the corner, suited in my black boots. Always stay humble and keep my movements grassroots. They say the truth shall set you free, give you liberty, trick me. With your lies, you must be kidding me. The end is almost here. Of this captivity, it's time to repent. They say the truth shall set you free, give you liberty, trick me. With your lies, you must be kidding me. The end is almost here. Of this captivity, it's time to repent. Now watch this.
Peace and blessings and shalom to the family. Crazy early in the morning, crazy early in the morning. And your brother Priest Dan is already on the road. That's the life, man. That's my life. That's my life, man. Wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm on the road by 4 a.m. every morning. Push myself out every morning. You know, it's not easy, but, you know, I give all praise, honor, and glory. I do so in the name of his only begotten son, Hamashiach, Yahushai. It's your brother, Priest Dan, Lines of Israel. It's early in the morning, but for the handful of y'all that is in here, if you'll be so kind as to hit that like button so that when everybody else wakes up at normal human hours, they can see we were live and they can come in and join in the conversation as well, right? So first and foremost and above all else, I'm thankful to the Most High God, Yahweh, for life, health, and strength. I don't know about y'all, but I haven't stopped hearing bad news yet. I mean, when I talk to friends and family members and they're losing friends, they're losing co-workers, they're losing, you know, people are dying all around them. That's all I hear from everybody. Doesn't matter who I speak to. Whoever I speak to is somebody that they know supposedly died of this so-called COVID-19 pandemic that's gripping the world. The phone number hasn't stopped ringing, you know, and some of the stories are downright horrifying to hear. You know, it's crazy. So every day that you wake up and you draw air and you're able to breathe and your loved ones that's closest to you are alive, just give the Most High thanks and praise, man. You know, that's something I've been saying to people around me. I'm trying not to complain. I'm trying to complain a little bit less, right? Because I'm human like everybody else. You know, a lot of y'all know I work 2 jobs and I still try to keep up with doing my duties as an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Doing my duties as a husband, doing my duties as a father. Like, I try not to make no excuses. I try to be an example to everybody around me. of not making excuses despite my schedule, right? I still do the work. And, but, I have my moments where I complain about just being overwhelmed and being tired, but I've been doing that a lot less lately for a lot of reasons, you know what I'm saying? So I want to give the Most High, blessings for that. And I want to tell y'all to try to keep a positive outlook as well to the best of your ability. I know everybody's going through things. Some of you brothers and sisters may have been laid off of your jobs and maybe going through some things. So I understand, right? Just let's keep the faith. The advantage that we have as Israelites versus the world is we know what's happening. We know what we're looking at. We know what we're looking at, right? We know the Most High is moving in the earth. The average man, woman, and child outside of this truth doesn't know what's happening. I'm talking about even Christians. Even Christians who will love to have an argument with you about the Bible, who go to church every Sunday proudly, wear the finest suits, the finest dresses. On Easter Sunday, they would have worn the biggest hat in church, some of the sisters, right? And what in the blue blazes is going on in the world right now? And they've been in church their whole life. That is an advantage that we have. So that when we see these things, we don't bug out and lose our minds. Because the Bible says we're living in perilous times. And as I said before, as Israelites, we've been in perilous times since forever, man. When you read the Bible, we went from one captivity to the next, to the next, to the next, because we always kept rebelling against the Most High, so the Most High kept jacking us up. So we've been in perilous times for a long time. Hell, at least as long as we've been in this country, we've been in perilous. To today, getting our heads split and bust open by police, shot down unarmed in the street, okay? Medical apartheid. We just went through so many things in this country that it's always been perilous times for us. But it's even more perilous now, because a lot of our people are still rebellious, even in all the things that the Most High has done to get our attention. A lot of our people are still rebellious, and a lot of our people are getting caught up in this whole thing with this COVID-19. And I do want to say something, man. I want to let y'all know, if you haven't seen the article, you brothers and sisters can look it up, that the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, they're making predictions, and I'm pretty much paraphrasing, they're making predictions that we're going to see a worse economy than we saw after the Great Depression. And what's happening is that the news is only focusing on the disease and, the death toll and the hospitals being overwhelmed and the ventilators and the push for a vaccine. They're focusing on that, but they're not talking about the record unemployment. I believe in 1 week, I believe it was either last week or the week before last, 16 million people filed for unemployment. 16 million people. They're not talking about the effects of that going forward. They're not talking about, I'm talking about the mainstream media and the news, the local news stations, all the small businesses that are never coming back. You even have large businesses like the AMC movie theater. They're completely gone out of business. Completely. That's the hospitality industry. Who works in the AMC movie theater? Mostly our people. The ones that sell the tickets, the ones that sell you the concessions, the ushers, the security guards. That's us. That's us. All right? Make sure y'all hit that like button if you're in here. Especially this time in the morning I'm talking to y'all. That's our people. So the IMF is talking about it's going to be a worse situation with the economy than even the Great Depression was. So why is that important, brothers and sisters? Because you brothers and sisters have been hearing myself and everyone that's affiliated with me on this channel. You've been hearing us talk to you brothers and sisters about preparation. Not panic, but preparation. Preparation for the long run, for what's ahead. Remember, when you read Matthew the 24th chapter, the Bible says there will be pestilences and famines. And famines. And famines. That's coming too. And I'm going to hit you with something. I shouldn't say it's coming. It's already here. I got people in New York that can't even find wipes for their babies. I gotta bring wipes from out of state to people in New York because they can't find wipes anymore. No, who would have ever thought that? You cannot go to the supermarket and find wipes for babies anymore. Now that's not really a tragic thing, because we know our foremothers didn't have damn wipes, and they didn't have Pampers either. They used cloth diapers and other things. So some of our wonderful sisters, they're gonna have to go take it back to the essence, right? Take it back to the essence. They're gonna have to do that if it comes to that. But it's just to show you how bad it is. You going into the supermarket and in certain aisles, the shelves are bare. It's hard to find certain cleaning or sanitizing supplies. It's hard to find certain sizes of Pampers for babies. It's hard to find wipes. Water is being rationed, right? Paper towels are being rationed. Toilet paper is being rationed. Who'd have thunk it, man? And we're going into a famine. I mean, hardcore, right? I got some articles and stuff I'm going to share with you, brothers and sisters. Not today, but I got some articles I'm going to share with you, brothers and sisters, to show y'all that we're about to hit that famine hardcore. It's coming. So we've been talking about preparation and how important preparation is. Prepare yourself physically, which we talked about your health. Y'all already know we always talk about that, so I'm not going to beat you in the head with that right now. Prepare yourself physically. Prepare yourself spiritually. Get in these scriptures and build your faith up. Because you're supposed to know what's happening. You've been reading these scriptures for umpteenth years. We've been talking about what's coming for umpteenth years. Let me find out that now that it's here, people are going to begin to lose faith, right? When the people go out in the streets and they're going to be rioting and protesting and rebelling and all that stuff like that, shouldn't be no Israelites in the streets doing that crap. Shouldn't be none of you. The Most High sent us to prophesy, to warn our people, and to bid our people to the feast. And to tell our people to repent. That's our job. Once we've done that, we've done our job. We're not supposed to be out here in the streets going crazy. When all that stuff is going on, then you're supposed to stay in your house. When there's riots and racial disturbances and people rioting because they don't have enough food or water for their family, we're supposed to be indoors. The Most High will provide. Now listen, let me say this. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. There is no amount of preparation that you can do that can prepare you for what's really happening, for the long haul, right? That's where our faith in the Most High comes in, and that's where the Most High will have to provide for us, right? But you can prepare enough so that when things are going on and disturbances and skirmishes and whatever's going on in the streets, you could be in your house while that's going on and you ain't got to go outside and get caught up in all that craziness that's coming. That's why we tell you to prepare. Have the necessities in your house, okay? Now, with that being said, let me move on, right, to a couple of things before a couple other announcements that I want to make, right? So, I have something called, this upcoming Sunday, I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation, right? Academy is, some of you don't. There is a 6-month academy that we call the Future Leaders Academy that's based on the Trooper program that I was in when I came up, right? It's 6 months of intensive training as far as scriptures, history, language, brotherhood, sisterhood, preparation, like you name it, it's all part of the academy. And I'm going to take one of the lessons from the academy and I'm going to go into a couple of the slides this upcoming Sunday. It's going to be good, so you're going to want to make sure that you tune in. I already have the alert set on this channel, so you brothers and sisters can hit the reminder to remind yourself this upcoming Sunday. I'm going to go into that. As far as and the reason why I'm doing it is because as far as the academy is concerned, it was canceled. It was supposed to start this upcoming, right after the Passover, it was supposed to start. But of course, because everything is shut down, it's pretty much canceled indefinitely until everything opens back up. So there were some brothers and sisters that, sisters, I'm sorry, the academy is really for men. There were some brothers that hit me up that wanted to be a part of it. And because it's canceled indefinitely, I don't want to keep certain information away from brothers and sisters. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give y'all a PowerPoint presentation where I go into some of the things that I'm going into. And the reason why I'm going to go into that, and I'm going to be real brief about this, the reason why I'm going into that is because even though we have all this stuff going on, the haters of God and the haters of the Israelites are still attacking us, right? There's always a good opportunity to attack the Bible and to attack the Most High. So we have to continue to defend the faith. That's our job. That's our mandate. We have to continue to defend the faith, right? So I don't want them to think that because we've been so focused on COVID-19 and preparation and talking to the brothers and sisters and checking in on everybody, I don't want the haters of God to think that we forgot about them. We still will defend this gospel 100%. That is our mandate. So this particular PowerPoint I'm going to go into is going to equip some of you brothers and sisters to answer some of the questions that you might get asked by so-called Jews, so-called Christian apologists, so-called comedics, so forth and so on. I'm going to show you the sources and the information from which we draw so you brothers and sisters can know where to go and look to find the information for yourself. So you too can be able to defend the gospel. And I always tell people, because now all of a sudden I'm hearing people trying to shame brothers for having knowledge and being able to go into history and language. All of a sudden that's a bad thing. I don't know when it turned into a bad thing, but that's what I've been hearing, which is really borderline retarded. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, right? For those of you that actually would like to be able to, because once you know that first of all, you know this is the truth, right? You know it. But when you have those resources and those sources and the information, and you see it with your own eyes for yourself, it makes you that much stronger in the faith. And so that is the reason why I'm going to share my findings and my research with you brothers and sisters this upcoming Sunday. Not the entire PowerPoint, because the entire PowerPoint is maybe about 3 hours. But I'm definitely going to hit you up with the finer points of some very good information that you can use. All right, so I just wanted to say that. Lastly, and most importantly, I want you brothers and sisters to look into Maccabeestv later on today. I don't know what time. So there is a sister that is a nurse. The sister's a nurse. And she's in ground zero, which is pretty much New York City, in this whole coronavirus situation, pandemic. She's on the front lines at ground zero in New York, dealing with patients with the coronavirus, right? And the sister reached out to us. All praises go to the Most High God and His Son. The sister reached out to us because of the work. I shouldn't even say us, because she didn't reach out to me. She reached out to my wife because of the works that we're doing in the Healthy Hebrews group on Facebook. So the sister reached out to us and told us that she wanted to come on a show. She wants to give her firsthand testimony, her eyewitness testimony of what is actually happening in these hospitals. And I watched the interview because I didn't conduct it. I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but I watched about a good 20 minutes. And I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, right now, it is disturbing what she's saying. A lot of these stories, you brothers and sisters are not hearing. You're not hearing it from the mainstream media, and you will not hear it from the mainstream media. But what she is telling us is disturbing. It's disturbing, man. It's disturbing. I'll put it to you like this, brothers and sisters. I'll put it to you like this. The sister said that when people, I'm talking about black people. When I say blacks, I'm talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, our people. When they come to the hospital, based on what she is seeing, she's telling them, go home. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? Y'all gonna see the interview later on. She's telling people to go home. Do not stay here. Because if you stay here, you ain't leaving here. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? But don't take it from me. Because we've been telling you, I've been showing you articles. Because let me tell you something. We ain't stupid. We know the difference between a conspiracy theory and what's real. And that CDC memo that I showed you, brothers and sisters, and not just me, but a lot of people have shown you, brothers and sisters, that memo from the CDC says that a lot of the deaths that are being labeled as COVID-19 are indeed actually the person dying from other pre-existing conditions. Is COVID-19 real? Yes. Is COVID-19 a plague from the Most High? Yes. Yes. But is Esau using it as an opportunity to do other evil? Yes. We've been telling you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring a medical professional on the channel who is an eyewitness, who is in the hospitals in pretty much the worst place in the country for COVID-19, which is New York. She is on the front lines in the hospital, in the emergency rooms, and she's telling black people, go the hell home. Because if you stay here, you ain't leaving here. Unless you're leaving in a body bag. All right? What she was saying is disturbing. So I need for y'all to hear this, because as always, we've been telling you. I brought herbalists on the channel that's been telling you. Now I'm gonna bring a medical professional on the channel to let you know what's happening. All right? So make sure that y'all tune in later on today. I don't know what time I'm on my way to work, as y'all can see. I got my laptop with me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and finish watching the video and edit it real quick and upload it, and it'll definitely premiere sometime this afternoon or sometime tonight. But I'm definitely I was gonna sit on it until Sunday, because usually it seems like more brothers and sisters are home on Sundays, and so I thought it was it would have been good to do it. But since I'm doing a PowerPoint on Sunday, I'm just going to go ahead and premiere it now, because what she was saying was not something I want to sit on. I want you brothers and sisters to hear a first-hand testimony of somebody that's actually on the front lines dealing with this whole coronavirus thing, man. She's like, people are coming into the hospital like with a fever. People are coming into the hospital talking about they got a scratchy throat, and she's telling them, go to hell home, man. Do not stay here. All right? She's talking about how the doctors are treating the black patients in the hospital. Racism is going on in the hospital when it comes to black patients. Okay? If patients are refusing certain types of medical treatments, the doctors are like, well, we're not helping you, and just leaving people to die. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Let the hospital be a last resort, family. Let it be a last resort for you. I'm not advising nobody not to go to the hospital if you're sick. But right now, if you have a scratchy throat or a cough or something like that, if you could do something about it yourself, I would try to do something myself. Even if you're taking over-the-counter medicine, the pharmacies are still open. You don't believe in the herbs, or you can't take the herbs because they're bitter, and whatever excuse it is that you might have, okay, then go take something over the counter for your cough or your scratchy throat. They have those. Try and do something about it yourself before you go to the hospital, unless your symptoms are really, really severe, because the doctors, when you go there, once they diagnose you with so-called COVID-19, they're telling you that you have to submit yourself to whatever treatment they're going to give you, and you can't refuse nothing. So just be careful, family. Just be careful, man. Be careful. Listen. Everybody I'm talking to that's calling me or calling us is telling me that the people that are going to the hospital are dying. I'm hearing about 5 and 6 deaths a day. Not necessarily people I know, but people that I know, their loved ones, their family, their co-workers. It's like, it's somebody dying every day. What happened? They went to the hospital. They had a cough. They had this. Like, for instance, I'm going to give you a perfect example. My son, I'll just call her his grandmother. She went to the hospital and she died of COVID-19, right? So I asked my son, I said, let me ask you a question, right? I said, did she have some other pre-existing conditions? Yup, she had asthma. Okay. Yeah, I figured that. That's the go-to question to ask. What other pre-existing conditions did they have that could have contributed to their death? And you're gonna hear something: asthma, diabetes, high blood pressure, emphysema, you name it. You're gonna hear something. But those deaths are being labeled as COVID-19 as per that memo from the CDC, which we showed you. So if you've been living with asthma, if you have asthma, you probably had it all your life. You know the symptoms. So if you're having certain symptoms, you know that you're probably having an asthma attack and nothing else. So if you're having shortness of breath, if you're wheezing, if you're having those certain symptoms that we know come with asthma, why don't you try and do what you've normally done for your asthma first before you go to the hospital, unless it's severe? Because if you go to the hospital, listen, man. I'm gonna let the nurse tell y'all. I'm just telling y'all to be careful, man. I'm not advising nobody not to go to no hospital. I'm not advising none of that. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just telling brothers and sisters, use wisdom. Listen, this is what the Bible says. The Bible says, a prudent man looketh well to his goings. You had better ask questions nowadays. If you go into the hospital, the emergency room, urgent care, wherever you're going, if you're not feeling well, ain't nothing wrong with asking questions. It doesn't matter if the doctor gets mad or the nurse or whoever it is. I don't give a damn. Ask 50 questions until you are satisfied with the answer. Don't let nobody prescribe nothing for you that you don't know what in the hell it is. And that's what I've been saying. And I say the same thing when it comes to the damn vaccine. If you, listen, I'm going to say it, and I don't give a damn who gets mad when I say it. If you go and roll up your sleeve and tell a doctor to inject you with a goddamn vaccine that they are telling you they're not testing before it comes to the market, they're rushing it to the market. If you go roll up your sleeve and take it without asking questions, you are an idiot. Sorry. And I say that with love, but I got to say that. Listen, have y'all not read the book Medical Apartheid? You haven't read that book? You don't know the history of medical apartheid in this country when it comes to black people? And knowing that, you wouldn't ask no goddamn questions, you would just go take it just to take it? Really? Anybody that does that is a fool. I'm sorry, Lord, forgive me. But you can't be that simple. The Bible says, never trust your enemy. It don't say, well, never trust him except if there's a pandemic and he comes up with a vaccine and just do it. It doesn't say that. It says never. Never means never. Which means if you're going to do it, ask questions. Informed consent. Informed consent, meaning if you decide to do it, you ask all the necessary questions and you are comfortable with the answer and you made the decision because hypothetically your job that you work on requires it, or you may have to travel, whatever it is. I told people, I'm gonna say it again, my advice to people is, listen, if you could not take it, don't do it. Don't do it if you could not do it. Don't do it. But I know some of my people are gonna do it anyway. So make sure that you're asking questions. Make sure that you're asking questions. And by the way, you do know immunization, what does the immunization do? It boosts your immune system. That's what it does. You do know that there are natural ways to do that, right? There are natural ways to do that. So don't wait until you get sick. Don't be reactionary. Don't wait until vaccines may become mandatory. Don't do that. Boost your immune system now so that if you're put in a position where you're forced to take the vaccine for whatever reason, you have a strong immune system and your immune system can fight off whatever might be harmful in the vaccine. That's my advice. I got almost 40 people up in here, which is amazing for this time of the morning. But if y'all can hit that like button, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Right? That'd be cool. I would appreciate it very much. So like I was saying, for those of y'all that just joined on, I don't mind repeating myself. I'm also killing some time because I'm driving to work, and I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'm sleepy as hell. So I'm talking to y'all because that keeps me awake. I didn't have a good night's sleep last night. You know, a lot of things on my mind. You know, like I said, man, all I'm getting is bad news from everywhere. And I'm also concerned for a lot of people too, my people. So like I said, we have an interview that we did with a nurse that's on the front lines of this pandemic, which is pretty much New York City. And yeah, she has a lot of horror stories that she's telling in this interview, so y'all should look for that. I'm going to put it out later on today. Another thing, and I won't say where I got it, but I'm definitely going to check the New York City newspapers today when they come out. Word got to me yesterday. Listen to this. Word got to me yesterday, and I'm not saying it for sure. It was told to me by a very credible source, so I do believe it. But I gotta still see it in black and white so that you brothers, because it wasn't told to y'all, it was told to me. So I'm pretty certain that the brother wouldn't come to me with false information, and he's in a position where he would know these things. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gonna be too specific because certain people, they have certain jobs that are sensitive. So, you know, for their privacy's sake, I won't say. But a brother called me last night and told me that 10 people, and I don't know which housing project it is in New York City. I don't know which housing project it is. But I was told yesterday that 10 people died of COVID in one New York City housing project. One housing project had 10 deaths in one day yesterday. That's what I was told. And I was told that by a very credible source. So now, that's a really, really interesting thing for a lot of reasons. Let me explain to you why it's interesting. It's interesting because if you're in the New York City area, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're not, just try to bear with me. It'll make sense after I'm done, right? There's a city in New York, right outside of the Bronx, about 10 minutes outside the Bronx, called New Rochelle. New Rochelle was on complete quarantine, the whole city. It was the first city to be locked down in New York State, was New Rochelle. It was also the launching ground for the National Guard when the National Guard was called out. The launching place was New Rochelle. And it was because, I believe, it was a housing project up there that there was a big outbreak up there of COVID-19. So they pretty much quarantined the whole city and called in the National Guard. And eventually, of course, the National Guard was deployed all over the state. But it started off in New Rochelle. So now, I don't know which housing project this is. And I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm not telling y'all I know what's going to happen. But if they had 10 deaths in one day of COVID-19, right? Now, you already know what they're going to say. They're going to say that those people, their family members also probably have COVID-19 too, because they've been exposed to it. So they're probably going to quarantine that whole project. Probably. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but they're probably going to quarantine that whole project. So whoever lives there, it's a possibility you may not be able to come in or out for however long they quarantine it, if they do it. Now do y'all see why we've been talking to y'all about preparation? Now do you see why we've been talking to y'all about making sure you have like 2 weeks worth of provision in your house? That is not to say the Most High will not provide, but the Most High wouldn't have to do a miracle if you just took precautions. And I say the same thing when it comes to health. Everybody's always like, oh, don't worry about it. The Most High will heal you. Yeah, the Most High could heal you, but the Most High may not have to heal you if you took precautions with your health. If you took precautions with your diet. That's why the Most High tells us in the scriptures that he created medicines from the earth. And he also created herbs for the service of man. If you take them, the Most High don't have to do a miracle. If you take precautions, the Most High don't have to do a miracle, because you know the Bible and you know what's coming. So this particular housing project, they said 10 people died there, right? I pray for all the brothers and sisters there that they don't lock it down, they don't quarantine that thing, because I'm telling you, Negroes are not prepared. They're not prepared. They're not. There was a video I was watching in Jamaica, right? It was in Jamaica, and they quarantined the whole village, right? They brought out the military. They quarantined the whole village because that was the first outbreak in Jamaica was in that particular village, right? And I think, don't quote me on it, but I think like 2 or 3 people came down with COVID-19 in that particular village. They brought out the military and surrounded the village, and nobody was allowed in or out for days. And I saw the video. You probably can find it on YouTube if you look hard enough. The people in the village were crying that they didn't eat in 3 days. They had no food was coming in or out. And these are poor people in the country, out in the bushes in Jamaica, right? And they were crying that they had not eaten in 3 days. Why? Because they wasn't prepared. They were not prepared. You have people in the islands that prepare because they know hurricanes hit the island. For instance, if you're from the islands, you know somebody from the islands, you know this. In Jamaica, right, they always have problems with like running water. Their municipal water system is not sophisticated like ours here. So there's times where they don't get running water in the house. There's also times where they get hurricanes. So what they do is they put big barrels like in their yard in Jamaica. In all the islands, they put big barrels in the yard and they catch rainwater. And they do that so that if for some reason something happens where there's a hurricane or the municipal water system is down or whatever have you, they have rainwater in barrels that they could use to hold them over until whatever. They prepare. But not everybody in the island does that. Not everybody. Not everybody. Just like here. No matter how much preparation I've been talking, I've had to politely chew out a few people very close to me like, yo, we're all in the same, listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I got people in my camp that we have had to physically drag them out the house and bring them to the supermarket to get them to get provisions for 2 weeks because you're in my camp, you watch my videos, you know what the hell is going on, and you still sitting around twiddling your thumbs like ain't nothing happening. So trust me, I know my people, man. I know my people. But I can't go around and physically drag everybody out their damn house. I don't know half of y'all, right? I could only do it to people in my camp. I could come down like a hammer to people in my camp because it's out of love. And as a shepherd, as a leader over the camp, I got to make sure that my people's is good. I come on here and I'm not y'all leader. I'm not y'all, y'all elder. I'm not none of that stuff to a lot of y'all. I'm your brother. So all I can do is give you warning and let you know what's happening. Either you take my words seriously or you don't, right? But those people in the housing project, it is a possibility, depending on how they assess the situation, those people could be quarantined, man. You think Laquita got provisions for 2 weeks in the house? Y'all think so? I don't think so. I don't think so. Right? So this thing is serious. It's very, very, very serious, man. And we need to take it seriously. This lockdown is not going nowhere no time soon. If you pay attention to the news, Trump is talking about opening up the country by the end of April, he was saying, or something like that. And Andrew Cuomo, which is the governor of New York, said he's going to defy that order. He ain't opening nothing up. Okay? So if you live in New York, you might see the quarantine lifted in some other states, but it ain't getting lifted for you, according to Governor Cuomo. Of course, we're going to monitor the situation, but that was as of yesterday. You can Google that. You can Google that article as I'm speaking. He said he's going to defy that order and keep things closed until he deems it safe. And with that, summer is a wrap. Summer is a wrap. Hot girl summer, whatever else Eve had planned, that's a wrap. That is a total wrap. All right. Nah, you ain't. I see you said it because the governor's silly. Hey, man, you ain't offend me by saying that. Yeah, I'm saying that. Listen, I used to live in New York, but that ain't my governor, never was. You know what I'm talking about? That ain't my leader. I didn't vote for him. You know what I mean? Yeah, so Yeah, it's crazy, man. And New York is extra crazy. It's extra crazy. Like, I know it's crazy everywhere, but they're really going hard here, man. They're really going hard here. So, you know, I'll definitely keep you brothers and sisters informed on that. Another thing too, going back to what I said, I might as well just talk about it a little bit. I really wanted to do a video where, where I was home and y'all could actually see the video, but I'll definitely do it. Maybe I'll do it Friday, Lord willing, Lord allow. I'll do it on Friday. I was watching a video, and you brothers and sisters, because most of us are city people, we live in the cities, most of us are not farmers, we're not paying attention to what's really happening. I was watching a video of, now remember what I said earlier, if you just came on, you didn't hear me, so I'm gonna repeat myself, and I'm gonna go into what I'm trying to say. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, said after this COVID is over, we're gonna be in a worse shape than we were during the Great Depression. And we know that either last week or week before last, 16 million people filed for unemployment. A lot of small businesses are not coming back after the COVID. A lot of small businesses are just not coming back. They're not, right? Even a lot of big businesses are not coming back. Now, with that being said, I was watching a video that was sent to me by someone. I forget who it is. I like to give people credit. Oh, you know who it was? It was Brother Yawanathan from Pittsburgh. He actually sent me the video or posted it. And this is what nobody's talking about, right? Everybody's talking about COVID. The death, right? Here's the deal. This guy went around, I don't know what state it is or whatever, but he went around to all the farms in that particular state. When I tell you that all the farms in that particular state are going out of business, they're all going out of business. The man had literally as far as the eye can see. This particular dude, his major cash crop that he sells is onions. That was his major cash crop, right? This particular guy that was being interviewed. And we went out, and the interviewer went out to the farm and got some footage. As far as the eye can see, I'm talking about when I say millions and millions and millions of onions, all rotting, going to waste. Why? Because all the restaurants are closed. Some of them are open for, takeout, but they're closed for sit down, right? They're closed. And a lot of restaurants are closed, period. And so there's no place for them to sell their onions. And then he went to another farm. And this other farm, they harvest and sell, the big crop there is avocados. And another farm, the big crop there is fruits like bananas and strawberries and grapes and different things like that. All rotting. And all these farmers are going out of business, right? Because restaurants are not buying the food, the crops. They're not buying it because they're closed. In addition, the dairy industry in that state decimated because restaurants are not buying the milk and the cheese and the this and the that. So they have nobody to sell it to. Nobody to sell it to. So these farms that have the cows and everything are going out of business in the state as well. I'm gonna play the video for y'all. I'm gonna do a whole video on it. I'm gonna play the video. Nobody is talking about this stuff, brothers and sisters. That's why I said to y'all earlier in the video, in Matthew 24, we're all talking about the pestilence, which is the disease, but who the hell is talking about the famines that's coming, brothers and sisters? It just ain't hit us in the mouth quite yet. But there's a famine, brothers and sisters. A lot of crops are absolutely rotting on the ground on a lot of farms right now because nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. A lot of businesses, restaurants, etc. are closed. So they have nobody to sell it to. What is another residual effect if farms are closing and they have no restaurants to sell their wares to? What is another industry that's going to suffer in the long run? The trucking industry, brothers and sisters, the trucking industry is going to suffer. It's going to suffer. It just ain't hit us in the mouth yet. We ain't realized all the other residual or peripheral effects of COVID-19 because the news is only focusing on the pandemic itself. That's all they're focusing on. They're not focusing on the economy. They're not focusing on the lack of food, the lack of bread that's happening, the farms that are closing down. They're not focusing on that. But what's going to happen is once this so-called COVID-19 pandemic passes, that's when reality is going to set in, and we're going to see that this economy is decimated. It is decimated. It is finished. And that is when brothers and sisters are going to understand what we've been talking about for a long time when it talks about making sure during this pandemic we are all checking in on each other, making sure that everybody has provisions, make sure everybody's okay, because you're going to have to start doing that. All of you brothers and sisters, and I mean no disrespect, and I'm not telling nobody to go join no camp if you don't like camps, but you better have a network of brothers and sisters, friends. You better know your neighbors. Know your neighbors. The people that live next door to you, the people that live across the street from you, get to know them if you don't know them. If y'all have issues, try to mend y'all issues, because y'all going to need each other. You're going to have things that they're going to need, and they're going to have things that you're going to need in this pandemic, in this famine that is coming. That is, listen to what I'm saying. The Bible says it's certain to come. It is certain to come. So if you're an individualite, you by yourself in this truth, cool. But you better have a network of people that you deal with that y'all can help each other when this comes. Because you're going to need people. You're going to need people. You're going to realize you can't do it on your own when that time comes. You sisters, especially you single sisters, especially you single sisters with children, I'm telling you right now, you better prepare more so than anybody else, because you're going to be the biggest target and you're going to be hit the hardest. Because these industries that's going out of business, a lot of them deal with hospitality, and our women are big into that. And so you're going to suffer. Isaiah 32 says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. I'm not saying this to disrespect you. I'm sounding the trumpet to warn you. Because it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. If you could get up under a head, when I say a head, you sisters, if you could get up under a head, a husband, or some brother or man that you trust, the elder or whatever like that, you need to get there. You need to get there. You need that hedge. I'm not saying you got to go and be intimate or physically up some man if you ain't looking for a husband, but you need a head, man. Because you are a bullseye, you're a target. See, you know what it is with black people? Black people have a short memory. And some of y'all, quite frankly, within the sound of my voice, you're pretty young, so you don't even remember certain things, right? I remember, and you can still find the videos on YouTube right now, I remember Hurricane Katrina. That's what I remember. Let me jog your memory. I'm talking to the sisters for a second. And you could take what I'm saying or you could leave it. You could be mad. But my job is to tell you the truth, right? I remember Hurricane Katrina. I remember that when New Orleans got flooded, when the levees broke, they were putting everybody in the Superdome. That's what they did, right? Okay. There is a documentary on YouTube. If y'all want to know what's coming on a mass scale, there is a documentary on YouTube. I don't know if the whole thing is available. I don't know if just bits and pieces, but whatever's out there, try to watch it. There is a documentary on YouTube called When the Levees Broke. It's a documentary that was done by Spike Lee, and it documented the whole Hurricane Katrina aftermath and how it affected black people in New Orleans. And the reason why I bring up that whole thing, as I mentioned, is that a lot of black people, that their homes were being flooded, so forth and so on, they were being herded into the Superdome in New Orleans. A lot of y'all remember, but some of you may be too young to remember. Here's the question. What was happening to the single women in the Superdome. What was happening to them? Well, let me tell you what was happening to them. They were getting raped in the bathroom. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? Don't take my word for it. Go watch it. The single sisters with no man that was being herded into the Superdome, they were getting raped. Okay? Not the sisters that had husbands. Not the sisters that had some type of man, whether it be a brother, uncle, whatever, some type of man that was a hedge or protection. The single sisters, the independent, I could do it by myself sisters, they were getting raped. These are facts. Go look it up. Go watch that documentary. It's called When the Levees Broke. Watch it. It is heart-wrenching. I'm telling you, some of that is coming right back. Some of that shit is coming right back. When all hell and chaos breaks loose in these cities, a lot of our sisters, unfortunately, you're going to be targets, man. So I'm telling you now, get prepared. So that if chaos ensues in the streets, you ain't talking about, oh, I got to go outside and get some food for my babies, whatever like that, and you go outside and get jammed up. What you waiting for? How many times can we warn you? It's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. Famines are coming. They're coming, certainly. The Bible tells us in the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, I believe it's verse 8, the Most High said his word will never return to him void, meaning without value or profit. When the Most High speaks the word, it is going to happen. The Bible says there's going to be famines. All right? So what you going to do? I say these things not to scare everybody. I say these things to jog you to think. And as I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself. And I gotta make sure that I'm prepared and I'm on point. And my household. And my camp members first and foremost, because they're the closest to me. But ultimately, all of you. I don't want to hear nothing happen to none of y'all, if it be the Lord's will. That's it, is truth. And like I said before, the advantage that we have is we know what's coming. You know why Jake is going to be out in the street wilding out? You know why? Because they don't know what's coming. Although we're in the highways and the byways trying to warn our people face to face, they don't listen. So they don't know what's coming because they don't want to hear. So they're going to get caught up. And when they get caught up, they're going to wild out. They're going to wild out. You don't want to be in the streets when that happens. You don't want to be, because then all they're going to do is call in the National Guard. That's exactly what they want to do, call in the National Guard. And the National Guard is going to be 10 times worse than your local police department. If you think your local police department be cracking heads and all that stuff like that, wait till the military starts patrolling streets. Just wait. I posted a video the other day on Facebook, and I believe that was Washington Heights, or it was probably Washington Heights, although it could have been the Bronx, where the Dominicans were wilding out, man. You had the police officers, they couldn't control them. Yo, the Dominicans was punching police officers in the face, bang. They couldn't control them. So that's when they're gonna bring out the National Guard. Or the military itself. Or even the foreign troops that are here in America that you just don't see yet. They're all here. It's all in place. You don't want to be out in these streets when that happens. Yes, the Most High will protect. Yes, the Most High will provide. But the Most High sends forth the watchmen, which are the prophets, the teachers, whether y'all accept it or not. That's what we are. The Most High sends forth the watchmen to warn you of what's coming. And when the wrath of the Most High comes down on this place, then you definitely want to quarantine yourself and be up in the house, so you don't get caught up in the chaos that's going to ensue. Let's be clear. And this whole COVID pandemic has allowed Esau to move the pieces on a chessboard to put stuff in place, all types of new law. We are not coming out on the other side of COVID-19 like we went in. That's not happening. There's going to be all types of new laws, mandates, statutes, sub-statutes, you name it, that's going to be put on the books, that's already being put on the books, in place. You're going to come out of this having less rights, not more. So this is the time, man. This is the time. This is the time, okay? So as I said, I'm going to bring that nurse on because I want her to talk about what's happening on the front lines of these hospitals. I'm going to put that video up later on. But I just want you brothers and sisters, man, to continue to be vigilant. Continue to keep your eyes open. Continue to be prudent, meaning that when you hear stuff on the news, there's nothing wrong with questioning it. Why in the hell would we trust our enemies that whatever they're telling us is the truth? Why would we do that? This is the same media, the same news media that no less than, it wasn't even 6 months ago, they was trying to label the whole movement as being terrorists. Why in the hell would we as Israelites hang off every word they're telling us in the news about what's going on with this COVID-19? Why would you believe everything you're hearing? Why? Why? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But, hey, man, I don't know, man. I've always been an analytical person my whole life, man. I ask questions. I don't give a damn who's mad. I ask questions, especially when it's coming out the mouth of the people that have done so much harm to us. You better believe I'm gonna ask questions, man. All right, y'all doing okay with the likes, actually. I'm surprised. Normally I got to beg. I got to beg y'all to like the video. Y'all are actually doing okay, although you could be doing better. You could be doing better. You could be doing better. Hopefully everybody within the sound of my voice that y'all are doing okay, brothers and sisters. As I was mentioning, because I see more and more people are coming in, so I'm just gonna repeat myself for the people that's just coming in. I got a nurse that we interviewed and I'm gonna be uploading the video later on, so y'all definitely want to check in later on. Just keep checking the channel. You definitely want to hear this interview. What she's talking about is heart-wrenching, it's disturbing, and as I mentioned, for those of y'all that's just coming on, the sister, because of what she is witnessing firsthand in the hospitals, people that are coming to the hospital with basic symptoms of just whatever, she's telling them, man, you better go home and treat that. Don't stay here. Don't stay here, because you may not leave here. If you have, I don't know, asthma, if you have a cold or something like that, before you run to the emergency, if it's not a severe where you're really feeling like you just, you know, you're really sick, if it's something that you've had before in your life and you've dealt with it before, try and deal with it yourself. You got a sore throat, do what you normally do for a sore throat, man. Some tea with some honey, some lemon, some ginger, not ginger. You can't use ginger because ginger is an herb that heats up. So you don't want to do that if you have a sore throat, sorry. But some honey, some lemon and some tea, whatever. Take some natural remedies and try to see if that will knock the cold out or whatever the flu, whatever symptoms you have out. See if you could do it yourself before you run to the hospital, man. I'm just hearing too many stories about people going to the hospital and really none of them is coming out. None of them is coming out. So let's just be careful, brothers and sisters. Come on. Yeah, somebody said they worked in a psych ward and they bet those things are still full. Yeah, man. Yeah. There's one particular story. It was a sister that called on Saturday. She called on Saturday. And she was telling us about her husband, right? Now, her husband has, I'm not going to hold you, right? Her husband has quite a few ailments, right? He has quite a few. And he went to the hospital and I'm just going to give y'all the finer points of what she was saying. This was her testimony. She went to the hospital, and basically, to make a long story short, there were certain things that the hospital, the doctors wanted to do that they were refusing, right? And to make a long story short, the dude needed some assistance with breathing. He was having some respiratory issues. I don't think it was COVID, but he was having some respiratory issues. So they put him on some oxygen, right? They put him on the oxygen tank or whatever, and he was taking the oxygen. And the doctors came in there and they wanted to administer something to the brother, and the brother was like, "Nah, I'm good on that. I don't want that." Do you know that when this sister stepped out the room, right? They took old boy off the oxygen. They took the oxygen mask off out of spite. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? A sister came and called and was testifying this. They took the dude off of the oxygen out of spite. And she walked in the room and raised all hell. She said you probably could hear her screaming and yelling probably for 10 miles away. She walked up in the room and raised all hell and made them put that oxygen mask back on the brother. I'm not saying, I ain't gonna come out right and say they was trying to kill that dude, but man, if you don't have to go to the hospital, don't go. Don't go. All I know, if they do that to one of my loved ones because they refuse a particular treatment, I'm gonna tell you something right now. You're gonna see bodies flying everywhere. Doctors, nurses, I don't give a damn. You do that and I walk in the room, somebody's gonna get hurt. Listen, I'm just gonna have to go. Y'all gonna have to take up a GoFundMe to get me out, because I'm gonna hurt somebody. I'm gonna hurt somebody, and the courts are closed right now, so I'm probably gonna be in there for a while. So y'all gonna have to pray for y'all brother. Y'all gonna have to pray for me. I'm telling you, because you do that and I walk in there, bodies are flying everywhere. Everywhere. Straight up. Straight up. That was crazy. And that's a woman, and her husband was not in a position to help himself, so they thought that was sweet. You see what I'm saying? They thought that was sweet. And this is what the nurse is going to tell y'all later. They doing stuff like that. They're doing, people that are refusing treatment they're getting mistreated in the hospitals right now. People that are refusing certain treatments, whatever like that. When you go in there, they tell you that they cannot help you if you refuse certain treatments. Also, another thing too, man, I've been hearing that people that are going into cardiac arrest, if they're not able to resuscitate them in a short amount of time, I don't know. Somebody told me the time limit yesterday. I forgot what it was. But people that are going into cardiac arrest, if they're not able to resuscitate you in a very short amount of time, they're giving up. They're not even trying. Like, the hospitals right now are doing some real dirt, man. They're doing some real dirt. According to the testimony of people, this is not me saying this stuff. This is the testimony that people are calling and giving me. And you're going to hear some of it with this nurse, and I'm going to upload the video later on to this channel. You're going to hear it for yourselves. That's why we be so much on the health kick with y'all. And I'm not telling you that if you take herbs and flushes and stuff like that, you still can't get sick, because you still can. You still can. You could even still catch the COVID if you're on herbs and stuff like that. Because I have never said, Patrick Delves has never said that herbs can cure COVID. That's not what we teach. That is a straw man argument that the fake woke conscious community tries to pin on us, that we're saying that. We are not saying that. What we're saying is that you take herbs to boost your immune system, because the average person has a weak immune system. And if you have pre-existing conditions, your immune system is even weaker than the average person. So you want to be on them herbs to boost your immune system so that you have a fighting chance if you come across the COVID. Okay? In the building that I work right now, there have been some cases. And I'm still, as y'all can see, required to come to work. I'm required to be here. I'm considered an essential employee. How do I know that some of the areas that I've been in the building is not where that person that had it has been? How do I know that? The fact that I've always been on the herbs and the flushes, I've always been on them. So my immune system is, I'm not gonna say it's optimal, but It's something that I've always done. Because why? I was taught by Master Herbalist Patrick Delves, prevention is better than cure. Don't wait until something happens. You should be doing this stuff just because it should become a lifestyle. And y'all have heard me saying that too. Has this COVID not taught everybody within the sound of my voice? Has COVID-19 not proven that to be true statement? Was that not prophecy? Prevention is better than cure. You have a more of a fighting chance if you make healthy living and healthy eating a lifestyle. You have a better shot. Now, I'm gonna come all the way clean with y'all. As much as I talk about health and wellness, right? Let me explain something to y'all. Food is one of the greatest pleasures in life. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? Food. This is a true statement. Everybody knows what your favorite dish is. And you know that when somebody makes it, the minute you smell that dish, your mouth starts salivating, you ready. Because food is a great pleasure. It is. It is. And there's nothing wrong with that. I myself, I probably got about 20 dishes that are my favorite. I don't have one. I probably have about 20 that I love. So now, why am I telling you, brothers and sisters, that? As much as I push health and wellness, I have never told y'all that at times I don't indulge myself. You better damn believe that if somebody making some food and it's one of my favorites, pass me a plate. Pass me a damn plate, God damn it. You know what I'm saying? But because I know that, guess what I do? After I indulge myself, guess what I do? You better believe at the end of the week, I'm doing a flush or a purge or something to get that stuff out of my system, because it will sit there. Especially the meats. Especially the meats. It'll sit there. I know that. And I know my body will not function optimally because of the fact that I indulge myself at times. Probably even more so than I should, knowing what I know. But I will never sit here in front of you and be y'all, the family, and be a hypocrite. Because if I'm a hypocrite, then you brothers and sisters, y'all won't change y'all ways. So I got to keep it a buck with you to let you know you're not alone. I have never told y'all I gave up all my favorite foods. I've never said that. But what I do is I do flushes and cleanses often, especially when I know, you know what, this week, let's just say hypothetically this week, I've been indulging myself the whole week. My bad, y'all. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. My apologies. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. I just went through a drop zone. The shit dropped. I apologize. But yeah, because like I was saying, because I work 2 jobs, I eat food outside sometimes more than I should, right? So I do flushes and purges and cleanses because of it. So what I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, is I know y'all do too. So you got to know when you've overdone it. Your body begins to tell you. You start feeling sluggish and so forth and so on. You know it's time to do a flush or a purge, man. You know that. And you should make it a habit. You should make it a lifestyle. Yeah. I don't know, man. This shit is wilding out now that I'm getting closer to the job. It's wilding out. All right, we try again. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. I ain't going to be long because I'm almost at work. So, knowing that these pandemics are happening, you got to be more on top of yourself and more on top of your health than ever before. And you know what I find amazing? What I find amazing is people that are pushing these vaccines. I don't know. Yo, can y'all hear me? I don't know what's happening. Hopefully y'all can hear me. If y'all can hear me, put 1 in the chat. I apologize that it keeps buffering. I don't know what's happening. I should have a great cell phone signal. God damn it, I just paid my bill. Okay, y'all can hear me. Yeah, it's wild, y'all. It's wild. With the shit buffering the way it's... Let's say peace and blessings and shalom to y'all. I apologize. I don't know what's happening. Just be safe out here, family. That's all I can really tell y'all. The next time that it buffers, I'm just going to end it. I ain't going to really... I don't know what's happening. But, I lost